Kindness is often viewed as a virtue, a quality that draws people in and fosters connections. But somewhere along the way, the meaning of kindness gets twisted. It begins to look like self-sacrifice, as if being nice means putting everyone else's needs before your own, as if it's your job to make others happy, even when it comes at the expense of your own peace. That's not kindness, it's losing yourself. Real kindness doesn't require you to give up your dignity, your voice, or your worth. It starts with how you treat yourself, and it sets the foundation for how others treat you. When you continuously bend over backward to accommodate others, especially in relationships, you send a message, intentional or not, that your needs don't matter as much as theirs. And once that dynamic is set, it's hard to undo. You become the person who is always forgiving, always giving, no matter how little you get in return. You might think this makes you likable, but in reality, it often leads to being taken for granted. People begin to expect your selflessness as if it's an obligation rather than a choice. Over time, that expectation turns into entitlement, and before you know it, you've lost control of the dynamic entirely. Kindness that erases your value isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. Imagine pouring into someone's cup until yours is empty, hoping they'll notice and pour back into you. But what if they don't? What if they simply enjoy the fullness of their cup while yours remains dry? That's what happens when you confuse kindness with self-sacrifice. You give and give, but there's no reciprocity. And you're left feeling drained, unappreciated, and unfulfilled. True kindness starts with you. It begins with respecting your own needs, desires, and boundaries. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you shouldn't have to. When you are kind to yourself, you set a standard for how others should treat you. You teach them that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. You demonstrate that kindness isn't about bending to everyone else's will. It's about mutual respect and shared effort. When you prioritize yourself, it doesn't mean you stop being kind. It means your kindness becomes intentional and balanced. Instead of saying yes to everything, you learn to say no to things that don't serve you. Instead of giving endlessly, you give where it's deserved and appreciated. This kind of kindness isn't weakness, it's strength. It's saying, I respect myself enough to only invest in relationships that honor who I am. There's a misconception that being kind requires you to always be agreeable, to avoid conflict, or to put your happiness on the back burner. That's a lie. Real kindness sometimes means having hard conversations, setting firm boundaries, and even walking away from situations that don't align with your values. It means being honest, first with yourself and then with others. When you choose to live in this way, you'll find that the right people respect you more, not less. You also need to understand that not everyone will appreciate or reciprocate your kindness. Some will see it as an opportunity to take advantage of you. They'll test how far you're willing to go for them, how much you're willing to tolerate. That's why it's critical to pair kindness with discernment. Ask yourself, is this person giving as much as they're taking? Are they respecting my boundaries, or are they constantly pushing against them? If the answer is no, then no amount of kindness will change their behavior. At that point, it's not your job to keep giving, it's your job to protect your energy and step back. Kindness, at its core, is about balance. It's about showing compassion without losing yourself in the process. It's about being a source of light for others while keeping your own fire burning. And yes, it's about giving, but only when you have enough to give. There's a difference between generosity and depletion, and knowing that difference is key to maintaining your peace. Start by being kind to yourself. Speak to yourself with the same compassion you offer others. Prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Treat your energy as valuable commodities, not resources to be squandered on people who don't appreciate them. When you do this, you'll notice a shift. You'll stop attracting those who take advantage of your kindness and start drawing in people who respect and value you for who you are. I remember, being kind doesn't mean being a pushover. It doesn't mean saying yes to everything or avoiding conflict at all costs. True kindness is rooted in strength. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to compromise it. It's about showing up for others without abandoning yourself. And it's about creating relationships built on mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifice. When you change your perspective on kindness, you'll find that it's not about giving everything you have until there's nothing left. It's about giving from a place of abundance and ensuring that your well-being is never the cost of your generosity. So the next time you find yourself tempted to overextend in the name of being kind, take a step back and ask yourself, is this true kindness, or am I sacrificing my own peace? Choose kindness, but start with kindness to yourself. That's where real change begins. When navigating life's complexities, one of the most empowering lessons to learn is the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that shut people out, but gates that determine what you allow into your space in life. Many people struggle with the idea of setting boundaries because they fear it will make them appear selfish or unkind. However, the truth is that boundaries are a profound act of self-respect. They communicate your values, protect your peace, and ensure that your time, energy, and emotions are invested wisely. Without boundaries, you risk losing yourself in the demands and expectations of others. Establishing boundaries begins with clarity. You need to have a firm understanding of what you value, what you need, and what behaviors you find acceptable or unacceptable. This requires introspection and honesty. Take a moment to reflect on situations where you felt drained, disrespected, or unappreciated. These experiences are often indicators that boundaries were missing or not enforced. Ask yourself, what do I need to feel valued and respected in my relationships? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? The answers to these questions will serve as the foundation for the boundaries you need to create. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they're about saying yes to yourself. When you say no to things that don't align with your values or well-being, you create space for the things that do. This could mean declining invitations that don't resonate with you, stepping away from toxic relationships, or simply carving out time for self-care. Every time you enforce a boundary, you send a powerful message: my time and energy are valuable. I will not allow them to be wasted on things that do not serve me. But setting boundaries is only half the battle. The real challenge comes in maintaining them. This requires courage, consistency, and sometimes difficult conversations. It's not always easy to tell someone no, or to explain why their behavior is unacceptable. You might fear their reaction, worry about conflict, or feel guilty for putting yourself first. But remember, boundaries are not about controlling others, they're about controlling your response to others. You cannot control how someone reacts to your boundary, but you can control how you communicate it and how you respond if they choose not to respect it. Communicating boundaries effectively is key. Be clear, firm, and respectful. For example, instead of saying, you always make me feel overwhelmed, say, I need time to recharge, so I won't be able to take on extra responsibilities right now. Notice the difference. The first statement places blame while the second expresses your needs. When you communicate in this way, you make it clear that your boundary is about your well-being, not a critique of the other person. Enforcing boundaries often involves consequences. If someone repeatedly crosses a boundary after you've communicated it, it's essential to take action. This might mean limiting your interaction with them, or in extreme cases, removing them from your life. While this can be painful, it's sometimes necessary for your growth and peace of mind. Remember, your boundaries are not up for negotiation. They exist to protect you, not to please others. One of the most transformative aspects of boundaries is how they change your relationships. When you establish and enforce boundaries, you create healthier dynamics. People who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, even if they initially struggle to understand them. These individuals will appreciate the clarity and honesty boundaries bring to the relationship. On the other hand, those who resist your boundaries may reveal their lack of respect for you. While this can be disheartening, it's a valuable insight that can help you decide who deserves a place in your life. It's also important to recognize that boundaries are not static. They evolve as you grow. What you needed 5 years ago might not be what you need today. Regularly reassess your boundaries to ensure they align with your current values and goals. Life is dynamic, and your boundaries should reflect that. Be flexible with yourself and willing to adjust as necessary. Boundaries are especially crucial in the context of self-care. In a world that often glorifies overworking and self-sacrifice, setting boundaries can feel like an act of rebellion. But it's a rebellion worth engaging in. Boundaries allow you to prioritize your health, happiness, and personal growth. They ensure that you're not constantly pouring into others while neglecting yourself. When you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to show up for others. Boundaries, therefore, are not just beneficial for you, they benefit everyone around you. One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they're selfish. In reality, boundaries are a form of selflessness. By protecting your energy and well-being, you can bring your best self to your relationships and endeavors. You cannot be fully present for others if you're constantly running on empty. Boundaries ensure that you have the resources, emotional, mental, and physical, to give your best. It's also worth noting that boundaries teach others how to treat you. When you consistently enforce your boundaries, you set a standard for respect and reciprocity. You show people that you value yourself and that you expect the same from them. This not only improves your relationships, but also inspires others to set and enforce their own boundaries. In this way, boundaries are a ripple effect of self-respect and mutual understanding. Ultimately, boundaries are an essential tool for living a fulfilling and balanced life. They empower you to take control of your energy, protect your peace, and invest in relationships and activities that align with your values. They're not about shutting people out, but about inviting the right people and those who respect you, uplift you, and contribute to your growth. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you reclaim your power and create a life that truly reflects who you are. One of the most vital steps in reclaiming your sense of self and direction is learning to master your emotions. Emotions are powerful. They can drive you forward or hold you back, and the key is understanding how to harness them instead of being controlled by them. Many people fall into the trap of letting their emotions dictate their actions. But when you allow emotions to take the wheel without your conscious direction, you risk veering off course in your personal journey. To master your emotions, you first need to recognize them. Awareness is the starting point of all emotional control. Take a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is it anger? Sadness? Fear? Joy? Often people suppress their emotions thinking they're unimportant or inconvenient. But ignoring your feelings doesn't make them disappear. It buries them, allowing them to resurface later in more disruptive ways. When you name your emotions, you take the first step in understanding them. Awareness gives you clarity, and clarity is power. Once you've identified your emotions, the next step is understanding the triggers. Emotions rarely come from nowhere. They're often reactions to external events or internal thoughts. For example, you might feel anger when someone disrespects you, or sadness when you're reminded of a past disappointment. Triggers can be subtle, like a tone of voice, or significant, like a major life change. Understanding these triggers allows you to prepare for them. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can respond intentionally. Responding instead of reacting is one of the greatest indicators of emotional mastery. Reaction is instant and often fueled by impulse. It's the snap judgment, the angry retort, or the tears that come without warning. A response, however, is measured and deliberate. It acknowledges the emotion but doesn't allow it to take control. Responding requires a pause, a moment to breathe and reflect before taking action. This pause is where your power lies. It's in that space that you choose how to move forward. To cultivate this pause, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment without judgment. When you're mindful, you observe your emotions without letting them consume you. Imagine your emotions as waves in the ocean. They rise and fall, but they don't define the entire sea. By staying anchored in mindfulness, you can let the waves pass without being swept away. Part of mastering your emotions is learning to regulate them. This doesn't mean suppressing them. It means channeling them in productive ways. If you're angry, instead of lashing out, use that energy to fuel a workout or a creative project. If you're sad, lean into activities that bring comfort and healing, like journaling or talking to a trusted friend. Regulating your emotions requires tools, and everyone's toolbox looks different. For some, it's deep breathing or meditation. For others, it's physical movement or creative expression. Find what works for you and use it consistently. A crucial aspect of emotional mastery is separating facts from feelings. Emotions are valid, but they're not always reliable indicators of reality. For example, you might feel unworthy after a setback, but that doesn't mean you are unworthy. Feelings are shaped by your perception, which can be influenced by past experiences, fears, and insecurities. When you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, ask yourself, what is the truth in this situation? By grounding yourself in facts, you can challenge emotional distortions and gain a clearer perspective. Another important practice is self-compassion. When you're working to master your emotions, there will be times when you falter. You might react impulsively or let your emotions get the better of you. That's okay. Emotional mastery is a journey, not a destination. Be kind to yourself in these moments. Recognize your progress instead of focusing solely on setbacks. Self-compassion doesn't mean making excuses for poor behavior. It means acknowledging your humanity and using each experience as a lesson for growth. Surrounding yourself with emotionally intelligent individuals can also aid in mastering your emotions. These are people who model healthy emotional behavior, provide support, and challenge you to grow. They don't dismiss your feelings, but help you process them in constructive ways. Conversely, distance yourself from those who amplify negativity or manipulate your emotions. The people around you have a significant impact on your emotional health, so choose your circle wisely. Emotional mastery also involves setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. This means recognizing when to step back from situations that drain you emotionally and when to stop engaging in thought patterns that harm your mental well-being. For example, if you find yourself ruminating over a mistake, set a boundary. I'll reflect on this for 10 minutes and then I'll let it go. Boundaries help you maintain control over your emotional energy. It's important to remember that emotional mastery doesn't mean you won't feel negative emotions. Anger, sadness, fear, they're all part of the human experience. Mastery is about acknowledging these emotions without being ruled by them. It's about using them as signals rather than commands. Anger can signal a boundary has been crossed. Sadness can signal a need for healing. Fear can signal a challenge worth facing. When you interpret emotions as information, they become tools for growth rather than obstacles. Lastly, emotional mastery requires commitment. It's not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. The goal is progress, not perfection. Celebrate the small victories like pausing before responding or choosing a constructive outlet for your emotions. Over time, these small victories add up to significant transformation. Mastering your emotions is one of the most empowering steps you can take in life. It allows you to move through challenges with grace, build stronger relationships, and pursue your goals with clarity and focus. It's a skill that serves you in every area of life, from personal growth to professional success. When you take control of your emotions, you take control of your life. You become the driver instead of the passenger, steering your journey with purpose and intention. Understanding how to manage your environment is critical in achieving personal growth and maintaining focus. Your environment has a profound impact on your mindset, energy, and productivity. It's not just the physical spaces you inhabit, but also the people you surround yourself with and the influences you allow into your life. Taking control of your environment means being intentional about what you allow to shape your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The first step in managing your environment is recognizing the impact it has on your state of mind. Look around the places where you spend the most time, your home, workplace, or even the digital spaces you frequent. Do they inspire and energize you, or do they drain and distract you? Clutter. Chaotic spaces can lead to mental clutter, making it harder to think clearly and stay focused. On the other hand, a clean and organized environment promotes a sense of calm and control. Start by decluttering your space. Get rid of items that no longer serve you or bring value to your life. Create an environment that reflects the mindset you want to cultivate, one of clarity, purpose, and positivity. But it's not just about the physical space. The people you surround yourself with play a massive role in shaping your environment. Relationships are either nourishing or toxic. They lift you up or pull you down. Take a hard look at your circle. Are the people around you supportive of your goals and values, or do they constantly undermine you? Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to be better, who encourage your growth and celebrate your victories is crucial. These are the people who bring positive energy into your life, who hold you accountable, and who remind you of your work when you forget it. On the flip side, you need to distance yourself from those who bring negativity, doubt, or drama into your life. This doesn't mean cutting people off without explanation or compassion, but it does mean setting boundaries. If someone constantly drains your energy or diminishes your confidence, it's time to reevaluate their place in your life. Protecting your mental and emotional well-being isn't selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup, and if someone in your environment is constantly depleting you, you won't have the energy or focus to pursue your goals. In addition to people, consider the influences you allow into your life through media and technology. Every piece of content you consume shapes your thoughts in some way. Are you filling your mind with negativity, fear, and comparison, or are you seeking out content that inspires, educates, and uplifts you? Social media, news, and entertainment can either be tools for growth or distractions from your purpose. Be selective about what you watch, listen to, and read. Curate your digital environment the same way you curate your physical space. Follow accounts that motivate you, unsubscribe from sources of negativity, and set limits on how much time you spend scrolling aimlessly. Your mental diet is just as important as your physical diet. Another key aspect of managing your environment is establishing routines and systems that support your goals. Your habits and daily rituals are a reflection of your environment, and they play a significant role in shaping your outcomes. Create routines that align with your priorities and values. For example, if health and fitness are important to you, make exercise a non-negotiable part of your day. If personal development is a priority, dedicate time to reading, journaling, or practicing mindfulness. Your environment should make it easy to stick to these habits. Set up systems that eliminate friction and reduce decision fatigue, like laying out your workout clothes the night before or keeping a book by your bedside. Time is another element of your environment that you need to manage wisely. How you spend your time reflects your values and determines your results. Audit your goal regularly. Are you spending time on activities that move you closer to your goals? Or are you getting caught up in distractions and unproductive tasks? Eliminate time wasters and prioritize what truly matters. This might mean saying no to things that don't align with your vision, even if they seem urgent or tempting. Remember, every yes is also a no to something else. Be intentional about where you direct your time and energy. A supportive environment isn't just about eliminating negativity, it's also about actively cultivating positivity. Fill your space with reminders of your goals and achievements. Vision boards, affirmations, or even something as simple as a sticky note with a motivational quote can serve as powerful triggers for focus and determination. Surround yourself with symbols of what you're working toward and celebrate small wins along the way. Positive reinforcement fuels momentum and keeps you motivated when challenges arise. Your environment also includes the opportunities you expose yourself to. Seek out spaces that align with your aspirations, whether it's joining a community of like-minded individuals, attending workshops, or volunteering for causes you care about. Being in the right environment often means stepping out of your comfort zone and putting yourself in places that challenge you to grow. Growth rarely happens in isolation. It's the result of engaging with new perspectives, ideas, and experiences. Ultimately, managing your environment is about creating a space physically, emotionally, and mentally that supports the best version of you. It's about being proactive instead of reactive, intentional instead of passive. When you take control of your environment, you take control of your life. You remove distractions, eliminate negativity, and surround yourself with the people, tools, and opportunities that empower you to succeed. Your environment should be a reflection of your vision, a sanctuary that nurtures your growth, and a launch pad for your dreams. It's not about perfection, but progress, a space that evolves as you do, always supporting you and becoming who you're meant to be. Taking responsibility for your outcomes is one of the most transformative decisions you can make in life. It's easy to point fingers when things don't go as planned. We all face moments when circumstances seem unfair or when others fail us. However, true growth begins when you shift the focus from external blame to internal accountability. Taking responsibility is about owning your choices, your actions, and ultimately your life. It's about recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. When you embrace responsibility, you step into a position of power. Blaming others might feel good momentarily, but it leaves you powerless. If your failures or setbacks are always someone else's fault, then there's nothing you can do to change your situation. But when you take ownership of your outcomes, you reclaim control. You acknowledge that your actions, your mindset, and your decisions play a central role in shaping your reality. This shift in perspective is empowering because it means that no matter what happens, you have the ability to influence your future. Taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up for past mistakes or dwelling on what went wrong. It's not about guilt or shame. It's about growth and learning. When something doesn't work out, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What lessons can I take from this experience? These questions are not about assigning blame, but about identifying areas where you can improve. They help you to see every setback as a stepping stone. Every failure is feedback. This mindset turns challenges into opportunities for growth and ensures that you're always moving forward. Another aspect of taking responsibility is being honest with yourself. It's easy to justify poor decisions or make excuses for why something didn't work out, but excuses only keep you stuck. Being honest means acknowledging when you could have tried harder, prepared better, or made smarter choices. It means facing the uncomfortable truths about where you've fallen short and committing to doing better next time. Self-honesty is not easy, but it's necessary. It's the foundation of accountability and the first step toward meaningful change. Taking responsibility also involves letting go of a victim mentality. Life is not always fair, and everyone faces challenges. But staying stuck in a mindset of why me or this isn't fair only holds you back. It keeps you focused on what's wrong instead of what you can do to make things right. Shifting your mindset from victimhood to ownership requires effort, but it's a game changer. Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, you start seeing them as tests of your resilience and creativity. Instead of waiting for someone else to fix your problems, you take initiative to find solutions. When you take responsibility, you also inspire others to do the same. Responsibility is contagious. When people see you owning your mistakes, learning from them, and taking action to improve, it sets an example. It shows them that accountability is not a weakness, but a strength. It creates a culture of growth and empowerment, whether in your family, workplace, or community. You become a leader not by demanding accountability from others, but by demonstrating it in your own life. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to do everything on your own. It's about recognizing when you need help and seeking it out. Owning your outcomes includes acknowledging your limitations and being willing to learn from others. This might mean asking for advice, seeking mentorship, or collaborating with others to achieve your goals. Responsibility is not about isolation. It's about taking proactive steps to get the support and resources you need to succeed. Another important part of taking responsibility is being consistent. It's not enough to take ownership occasionally or only when it's convenient. True responsibility requires a daily commitment. It means showing up for yourself and others even when it's hard. It means staying disciplined and focused, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency builds trust both in yourself and in others. It reinforces the idea that you are someone who takes your commitment seriously, someone who can be relied upon. Responsibility is also about celebrating your successes, not just analyzing your failures. When you achieve something, take a moment to reflect on the choices and actions that led to your success. Recognize the effort you put in, the risk you took, and the lessons you applied. Celebrating your wins reinforces the idea that you have the power to create positive outcomes. It builds confidence and motivates you to keep pushing forward. Ultimately, taking responsibility is about owning your story. You are the author of your life, and every decision you make is a chapter. You can't rewrite the past, but you can always decide how the next chapter will unfold. Taking responsibility ensures that you're not a passive participant in your story, but an active creator. It allows you to take control of your narrative to shape it in a way that aligns with your values, goals, and dreams. When you commit to taking responsibility, you unlock your potential. You stop waiting for permission, approval, or perfect circumstances. Instead, you take action with the resources you have and trust yourself to figure out the rest. You become unstoppable, not because you never face challenges, but because you know that no challenge is greater than your ability to respond to it. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It's the key to living a life of purpose, integrity, and fulfillment. Sometimes in life, you must step back and let people reveal their true colors. There is power in observation. People may act in a way that pleases you or in a manner that you expect, but their true character is unveiled not by what they say, but by what they do. So especially in times of adversity or when they feel that they can no longer hide their true intentions. It's important to recognize that not everyone who enters your life has your best interests at heart. Some people may smile in your face and speak kind words, but their actions reveal something entirely different. The reality is that some people only want what they can take from you and are quick to betray you when the opportunity arises. When someone betrays you, it can be painful. You may feel disillusioned, hurt, or even betrayed by your own judgment. But in those moments, you need to understand that this betrayal, while painful, is not the end of your journey. It's a powerful lesson. It's a reminder that some people are not worth your time and energy, and that's perfectly okay. It's not about them, it's about your ability to recognize what's worth fighting for, what's worth investing in, and who's worth having around. You may be inclined to react immediately, to confront them, to call them out, or even to seek revenge. But stepping back is where the real power lies. By stepping back, you give yourself the space to analyze the situation without emotion clouding your judgment. You don't need to rush to expose them, and you don't need to feel compelled to fix everything. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. You don't need to engage in drama, waste your energy trying to convince others of their deceit. Instead, let their actions speak for themselves. Allow time to show them for who they really are. In taking a step back, you allow yourself to gather the strength to move forward without being caught up in unnecessary conflict. People who have betrayed you in the past often find themselves coming back when they realize the loss of your energy, attention, and resources. The ones who once took advantage of you will eventually come to understand the value of what they lost. This is when you have the power to decide whether or not to engage with them again. Their betrayal will cost them in the long run because relationships built on trust are the foundation of any meaningful connection. When that trust is broken, it's not something easily repaired. It's easy for someone to take you for granted when they have access to your kindness, your time, and your resource. But once that access is removed, they may find themselves regretting their actions. And this regret is where the real transformation happens, not in your confrontation, but in their self-realization. There's a saying that what goes around comes around, and it's often true in the context of betrayal. The energy you put into the world is reflected back to you. And when someone betrays you, their actions will eventually catch up to them. They might not feel the consequences immediately, but in time, their dishonesty and lack of integrity will impact their lives. They may lose the trust of others, suffer consequences in their personal or professional life, or find themselves isolated as people recognize their lack of loyalty. By stepping back and staying silent, you allow that process to unfold without interference. The most important thing to understand here is that betrayal is a reflection of the other person, not you. When someone betrays you, it speaks to their character and their choices, not your worth. You don't need to take it personally because it says more about who they are than it does about who you are. It's easy to internalize betrayal and think that something is wrong with you, that you did something to deserve it. But the truth is, betrayal is a choice someone else makes. It has nothing to do with your value as a person. Stepping back from the situation also allows you the opportunity to reassess your boundaries. If you allowed someone to betray you once, it might be a sign that you were too lenient or that you didn't protect your boundaries in the way that you should have. Use this experience as a learning tool. Reflect on where your boundaries were weak and how you can strengthen them moving forward. This is how you turn betrayal into an opportunity for personal growth. You don't let it define you, but you let it refine you. You learn from it and become more resilient, more aware, and better equipped to handle future challenges. Another key aspect of stepping back is that it frees you from the toxic energy that betrayal often brings. When you engage in conflict or chase after people who have wronged you, you tie yourself to negative energy. You waste your precious time and mental resources trying to justify your actions or prove your point. But stepping back allows you to detach emotionally from the situation. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, your peace of mind, your goals, and your future. It's liberating to realize that you don't need to engage with people who do not deserve your time. In the long run, their betrayal will cost them, but your silence and distance will give you strength. You will be free to focus on your own growth, your own journey, and your own success. You'll find that the people who truly matter, those who are loyal, supportive, and trustworthy, will remain in your life, while those who have betrayed you will fade away. And when they come back, as they often do, you'll be in a stronger, more empowered position to decide whether or not they are worth your time. You'll know your value, and you won't settle for anything less than respect and integrity. The truth is that some people will never change. They may try to manipulate, deceive, or take advantage of you again. But by stepping back and staying silent, you not only allow them to reveal their true nature, but you also take control of your own narrative. You control who stays and who goes, who you invest in, and who you cut ties with. Your power lies not in what you say or do in the moment of betrayal, but in how you choose to move forward from it.